Hi, David. I'm Alyse with Screenopolis.
Hi, Alyse. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Can you talk a little bit about the story's evolution? Because I know it started originally with you wrote it as a script, right?
Yeah. I wrote it as a screenplay probably around 2005, I think. And then I was trying to make it for a couple of years, and then I got busy and kind of put it on ice for a while. And then 2014, I was thinking about the story, and I just really loved the story. So I decided, screw it, I'm going to write a novel and just get the story out there because I like the story. So I wrote the novel, and then writing the novel kind of expanded the screenplay in my mind. So I then rewrote the screenplay off the novel and went out and tried to make it again and got close a couple times with me playing the son. And luckily, because I believe even if I'd been able to make it at that point 5, 6 years ago with me playing the son, I was too old to play the son. So luckily, I got pushed to a point where I was playing the dad. So, the timing, I think, was fortuitous, even though it was frustrating over the years, not getting it made.
Yeah. Um, were you glad that ultimately you ended up playing the dad because he seems to be much more with your character type, with kind of the funny and
Yeah.
that kind of thing?
Um, yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about it the other day because I hadn't thought, the decision to play the dad was quick. It was almost at the same time we got funding to make the movie. And I said, I just can't realistically, I don't believe me as, even if you believe me as 46 or that guy, it's too old for that. It's too old for the issues that he has. It's like watching Hamlet played by a 45-year-old. It's like, why are you whining about your father? You're 45. So it was pretty quick. And I really, I thought about the son character forever because I wrote it for myself. And then all of a sudden, here I was playing the dad. And I just remember like the week before we were shooting, during prep, I went home one night. I was really tired from prepping. And then I was like, shit, I've got to really pay attention to this, because I really haven't thought about. I don't know the lines, I know the other guy's lines. I knew Logan's lines, but I didn't know mine.
Can you talk a little bit about the process of picking an actor for a role that you were originally going to play?
Well, first thing you do is you don't tell them that, that you were originally going to play it. I mean, I would hate that if I was on set knowing that the director is looking at me like, yeah, now I was going to play that guy. Um, it's just a vibe. It's a feeling. You know, it was a certain kind of understanding. He had a great understanding, a great feel for the material. And, um, and then he just wanted to work, work, work. It was great he kind of pushed me because I come from, my my learning curve happened like in television where you got to do it fast, and I love that I have those skills, but if you slow me down, I'm a little less comfortable. And I've always wanted to be slowed down, and Logan really wanted to slow down and rehearse, even though we were doing it by Zoom. We didn't really have time or the budget to rehearse, but Logan wanted to rehearse, and that was invaluable to me as a director and as a scene partner with him. And he came up with he read the book, and he had lines from the book that he thought, he missed in the screenplay. So I ended up, and they were mine. They weren't his. It wasn't like he was saying, hey, I love this line from my character. He's like, I love when you say this, very
Mhm.
generously. And I was like, oh, because I'm not necessarily the best judge of what of my stuff is good or bad. I mean, I wouldn't write it if I thought it was bad. So, but I don't know like what really works and what really doesn't. I mean, it's hard to have that kind of distance. So him standing back and saying, hey, I really think you should say this, or I really think this scene should go into the movie. It was nice to have another set of eyes on it for me.
Mhm. You'd mentioned in the notes that your child getting sick was an autobiographical part of this. Are there any other autobiographical parts?
Um, My dad was a softball pitcher in the 60s and 70s in New York on a Puerto Rican softball team. And he and my best friends there, they were Gringo number one and Gringo number two on the team. They were the only two Gringos on the team. And my dad was a great softball pitcher. So he was a real like coveted asset in New York. And they played $5 a man or they played for beer money. And that was it. And every weekend, I go with my buddy, Matt Warshaw, who's my best friend, and his dad and my dad. And it was like barnstorming, softball was pretty competitive back then. So that's a bigger part of the book than it is the movie. In the movie, you see that he might have played softball at one point, but that was a real kind of foothold for me in not only in the time, but also, baseball, softball, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Other autobiographical things, I don't really think so. I don't really think so.
Okay.
I think my dad
Um,
was a frustrated novelist. He published his first novel when he was 75, his first
wow.
and last published novel. So I think the the storyline of the dad being a frustrated novelist, and my dad would have had to have made money to raise a family, and didn't have the luxury of just kicking back and trying to be a novelist. So that kind of
Mhm.
frustration, that artistic, that creative frustration, that's also, it's not my autobiography, but it's something from my life.
Right. Well, they're telling me I have to wrap, so thank you so much. Oh, I have time for one more. Um,
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about the switching the title from Bucky fucking Dent to Reverse the Curse? Like, was that your call?
No, and not my call. I mean, it was my call to say "Reverse the Curse" as the title,
Hmm.
but um, no, apparently the thinking that was given to me is that the algorithm, the almighty algorithm, doesn't like asterisks, and also might hide a possible curse word from certain searches.
Hmm.
So when you have a small film like this that needs as much help as it can get, you don't want to hamstring it by angering the algorithm.
The almighty algorithm.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you so much. And I just wanted to say that I'm very sorry about Brick.
Oh,
Um,
thank you. Thank you.
my dog died a couple months ago, and so I've been feeling the same. It's really
It's a tough
hard.
one. It's a
Yeah,
tough one. They're just,
they're
I've
too
always thought
good for us.
that's a good way to put it. They are. Well, not Brick. Brick wasn't too good for us, but
Oh.
he was a character. He was a character.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.